Hello and welcome to This Week in Wrestling. As always, I will kick us off with all the fun and games of Monday Night Raw. The card this week was Miz TV, which got interrupted by Bobby Lashley, who gave The Miz an ultimatum. Ooh.
This just in, Bobby Lashley turns face by interrupting Miz TV.
We had Riddle taking on John Morrison for some reason, and Riddle picked up the win. We had New Day taking on Retribution again, with New Day picking up the win. My God, am I over this. We had The Miz finally answering Bobby Lashley's ultimatum.
Because there've been a couple of matches, so I'm glad we got that out of the way.
So he was given an hour, apparently. An hour was put on the clock. And he gets interrupted by Braun Strowman for some reason. So
who come out to say, "Rah!"
Pretty much all he did say, to be fair. We then had the Hurt Business taking on Lucha House Party, with Hurt Business picking up the win. Angel Garza was in action taking on Damian Priest, with the, what's he call himself? The Archer of Infamy, picking up the win.
Infamous Archer, Robin Hood himself.
That's the one. Takes from the rich and gives to Bad Bunny. And yeah, Priest picked up the win. He had several attempted 24/7 title challenges, which none of them came to fruition. I'll talk about that. Randy Orton has a promo discussing his distraction. It's distracted, Anthony.
Okay.
And yeah, shenanigans happened there. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler teaming up to take on Asuka and Charlotte, with the tag team champions picking up the win.
We haven't seen that ever. Why not?
I know, right? We had Jeff Hardy taking on Sheamus again for no particular reason, with Sheamus picking up the win.
I'm looking at the card right now and going, that's probably one of the better matches of the night.
Which says everything that you need to know. We had Naomi teaming up with Lana to take on Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. I believe there was some kind of stipulation whoever won got, a future title opportunity or something. And obviously Naomi and Lana would win, since they've been put together for the shortest amount of time, and that seems to be what happened.
Of course.
We had AJ Styles taking on Ricochet, with Styles picking up the win. And the main event,
probably a decent bout to watch, in all fairness.
It was pretty decent, to be fair. A shame that it's random, but yeah, it was alright. And the main event saw Bobby Lashley taking on Braun Strowman. If Strowman wins, he gets added to the WWE title match next week with The Miz. If he loses, then he doesn't, and he lost, so he doesn't. So really, you've got to ask yourself, well, what was the point in all that? So Lashley picks up the win. Therefore, Strowman will not be part of that title match next week, so it'll just be Lashley taking on The Miz. And that was the show, Anthony.
Good.
That was the show.
Can I just say, I know we're going to talk highlights and no shite, Carl, but when did it become a thing, right? They went through this phase ago. We don't just do rematches anymore. You don't automatically get a rematch. The rematch clause doesn't exist. And you go, fine, whatever. Even though people tend to get fucking rematches. In fact, we see the same match over and over quite a lot. But then when did we get a point where, like, and this is no offense to Braun, this is offense to the writing, but you can just rock up and go, well, I held a title once, so I should be in the picture. It's like, why?
I mean, to be honest, it was quite funny because he came out and was like, yeah, listen, Shane, because Shane McMahon rocked up again, and he was like,
yeah, we needed some sort of authority figure to talk. Why not?
I mean, I don't really get what's happening with Shane and Adam Pearce at the minute, to be fair. I don't really care, but I don't get it. But yeah, Shane was out there. He's like, I told you I'm a former Universal Champion. And Shane's like, well, no disrespect. I don't know whether you're just not getting this, but I did say it was former WWE Champions, of which you're not. And he's just like, because that's his character now.
Braun sad.
Oh, Braun flip ambulance. So yeah, that was basically the card, Anthony. Highlight wise, I've really not got hardly any at all, right? And the ones I've got, I'm kind of clutching the straws over. So, firstly, the 24/7 title. That's right. I'm going to say it's a highlight this week.
What?
Right? Because it's been a fucking joke for so long, right? Changing hands on a dime for no reason. R-Truth 50-something time champion, isn't he? Or almost. Something like that. To the point where it's just a laughingstock, right? Now, it's still a laughingstock because Bad Bunny holds it, and he's not even a wrestler. However, something different. He's a bad bunny. But I've got to say, it's refreshing to just not have the title change hands a million times. And even though we're still getting it on a weekly basis, this kind of, bodyguard thing that Damian Priest is kind of doing to keep the title on Bad Bunny, I'm liking it because it's different and it's refreshing. And Bad Bunny seems to be a massive draw for WWE. He put the title on Saturday Night Live. I'm pretty sure they are wishing that they designed a better title at this point because it still looks like a fucking bag of shit.
Yep.
But it has to be said, I think them going this different route of you've still got the same gang of idiots with nothing to do going after this title, but the fact that it's not, he's not losing it every week.
Think about it though, right? I don't mind Bad Bunny having it. Like you say, it's something a bit different. But like, I still think it would have been good if Braun or somebody had had it. Someone who's really difficult to take the title from, right? Because imagine the comedic bit you could have had where R-Truth tries to get a roll up out of nowhere and just physically can't roll the fella up because he's fucking massive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just little stupid shit like that. Like the fact that people would struggle to take it from Braun, I think would be a good booking. And give Braun something to do.
Well, Anthony, they stole the Royal Rumble idea, so expect it for this to be stolen.
That's why I wanted to vocalise it.
Anytime soon.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can see that being Omos. He ends up winning it once by accident, and no one can fucking do a damn thing about it. So yeah, I'd quite like to see that. And my only other partial highlight is I guess Lashley looks strong by beating Strowman. I guess.
Now I'm surprised this isn't more of a highlight for you because I really like the way they've booked the whole Lashley thing. I can't stand the fact that Miz took the fucking title. I can't stand the fucking thing. I can't stand the fact that Drew's kind of not even in the picture at this point for some fucking reason. Don't automatically get a rematch, obviously. But I love the fact that it was the Hurt Business they've got a deal here, and Bobby Lashley's owed it. I love the fact that they were going to call that debt in. I love the fact that Miz was trying to weasel out of it. I love the fact that Bobby Lashley tore through Braun as he should have, because I was ready to be pissed off that Braun was getting inserted into the title picture again. No offense to Braun, just because it was just I'm here and I want a title. It's this is almost Goldberg levels of booking. I really enjoyed the way they've done the whole Bobby Lashley thing. I thought this would be more of a... I know it's a highlight, but I thought this would be more of a highlight there. I thought it was actually quite well.
I think they just rushed it. So it was he's fighting for the US title. And then it was okay, no, he's helping out. Okay, now he's probably going to win it tonight. So I just feel like it's...
fairness, if they win it tonight, I'm why did they even give The Miz the fucking Money in the Bank back? If he wins it tonight, that's the first thought I'm going to have is why the fuck did we even bother? Right? They clearly pulled the trigger really quick now because they have no designs on The Miz being involved in the title scene at WrestleMania, so they need to make some moves. And that's what it's about. But I really hope it at least gets to Fastlane before Miz loses the title.
I think it's going to be tonight.
Have some legitimacy in the booking.
I think what they did, they put it back on The Miz because he was the scapegoat in being able to lose it to Lashley. Last week I said this could be good if the whole reason they're doing this is for Drew to win the title from Lashley at WrestleMania, and he gets the fan reaction he deserves for being the fucking COVID champion and doing a phenomenal job, without any crowd there, because he deserves that. He'll be a 3-time champ, and it'll be great, right?
But they could at least extend the Miz Bobby Lashley thing to Fastlane.
The only way they could do that though is with shenanigans, because he's made the deal.
They love shenanigans.
So if he doesn't win tonight, what's going to happen? Is it going to be? It's all still it's a massive mess. I honestly think they don't know what's going to happen, because I've been hearing murmurs of a Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar match. Which hasn't happened before, and people have always wanted to see it.
Title.
And of course, it would have to be for the title, wouldn't it?
It doesn't need the fucking title. I hate this.
I know.
I hate this so much.
So, exactly, unless they have Lashley win, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, because you've still got the Drew McIntyre Sheamus thing. Now you've got Drew McIntyre Miz, and you've got Drew McIntyre Lashley. So the guy who was the champion's got 3 possible routes. I'd love to see him against Sheamus, but it would be good if it was for the title. But he'd have to defend it, because I wouldn't like to see Sheamus take it off him again. Now he's just fucking lost it.
We're talking like this now, and then somehow we're going to be sat here watching WrestleMania, whiskey in hand, going, why the fuck are we watching Drew versus Randy again? How did this happen?
Don't do
How
that.
did we get here?
God, please no. I'd like to think that's not going to happen, but yeah. Anyway, so it is a highlight in the sense that Bobby Lashley did look strong, and we haven't Braun Strowman in the title picture. Although, to be honest, I thought Miz's reaction seemed weird because after he found out he's not going to be a triple threat and he doesn't have to face Braun as well, it cut to him on commentary and he looked almost like disappointed or like, like, oh my god, what does this mean? It's like, wouldn't it be worse if you had two big bastards coming for you, Miz? Like, it just didn't make any sense.
I suppose maybe in his mind they were going for each other and he was just going to watch.
Maybe.
Some sort of like weird sort of fetish kind of way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no, joking aside, maybe he thought the opportunity to avoid things and then capitalise was there when there was three. Maybe. Now he's going to have to face Bobby. So maybe that's the mentality behind it. But for me, this is the most over Bobby has been for me, if you know what I mean. This is the most I've enjoyed Bobby Lashley since his entire run in WWE. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely a highlight for me, that one.
Yeah, I just think they've rushed it. That's the only reason it's not more of a highlight, but it is definitely good. And it's good to see him, in kind of the main event-ish scene as opposed to the US title scene.
It's all thanks to MVP.
Who would have thought when he came back at the Rumble all that time ago, the impact he would have? But yeah, so they're my only highlights, Anthony, unfortunately, in what was a very lackluster show. In terms of shites, the big one is just the fact that it was just very very bland, from start to finish. We had more fucking voodoo Papa Shango shit with Randy Orton, so he's there saying, every time he loses a match at the minute, it's because he's distracted by something, and the distraction at the minute is The Fiend and Alexa Bliss, blah blah blah, and then the next minute he chucks up some black, slime out of his guts, and it's like,
sure,
yeah, okay, sound. So I'm guessing we're
like food poisoning.
So she just ate a whole lot of licorice. But I'm guessing, we are obviously going to get Randy Orton Fiend, but what a weird build for that.
Weird build. He's like built this entirely with Alexa. It's so weird.
I know.
Like the Fiend's just having a proper day off for its boss.
We don't even really know the reason behind that either, do we? So that's just strange. But anyway. Yeah. So New Day and Retribution. I've got to mention them every week because I just don't care about it, and the fact it's going on for so long now, I just really couldn't care less.
It really, really didn't fucking matter, did it?
No.
Let's be honest.
I mean, to be honest, most of what happened didn't really matter in the whole show. Which is
the most relevant Retribution ever were was when the hair business were going to deal with them.
I know.
And even the hair business realised that they just stand there and fucking moan. They don't need to deal with them.
Do you know what?
Leave them in their own
I don't want to digress too much. But do you remember how pumped we were when the hair business came down to deal with Retribution? We were like, oh shit, this is cool. And then the next week they were just awful again. And then they're doing the inner fighting between fucking Cedric and Shelton.
And they didn't even really echo the whole thing. Yeah, it's like, okay, I guess we're not dealing with Retribution then. That was the most relevant they were.
Yeah.
And like their whole gimmick is pointless now because they rock up on Raw every week. Raw is not even slightly affected by them. Since they've turned up, they've stopped doing the stuff they were doing, so nothing's getting messed with. None of the electricals, none of the none of that stuff's getting messed with. No windows are getting smashed. They've like really calmed the fuck down since they signed contracts, which kind of negates the point of what they were saying.
Got entrance music now. They just follow the line. Really getting a load of Retribution, aren't they?
Gonna tear this place down from the inside. Yeah. One paycheck at a time. Like, that's one, guys.
So yeah,
just pointless story now.
Yeah,
pointless story.
Not digging that at all. The Jeff Hardy Sheamus match. We've seen these guys before, so it's nothing new, unfortunately. But at the same time, it didn't make any sense because, at this point, Jeff Hardy's just a fucking burial machine, and I can't remember the last time he won a match, if I'm perfectly honest. He was even losing to Elias the other week. But
didn't he turn into some sort of, or they thought he was going to start going full Willow with Sheamus at one point on SmackDown?
Yeah.
And then that kind of just didn't happen.
Well, exactly. That's why.
Okay.
That's why I was like, "Are you shitting me? How many weeks of this did we have on SmackDown?" And now here we are getting it on Raw. So fantastic. And Sheamus won in a match that nobody cared about or wanted.
Someone backstage is going, if we take the worst thing on SmackDown and move it over to Raw, that'll help the ratings for some reason.
Horrendous. And this week, it wasn't Nia Jax injuring someone. It was a tag team partner, Shayna Baszler, who full-on kicked Asuka right in the face and kicked her tooth out and nearly knocked her out in the middle of the ring.
Savage.
So, not good at all. But yeah, that was the show, Anthony. And there's not a whole lot to write home about there, is there? When your two highlights are, I guess Lashley's in the main event now, and cool. And 24/7 title booking being your only highlights. You can't possibly give it any higher than a 0.5. So that is my thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What are your 2 cents on this?
I kind of got to agree with you. Like, I don't even really give the 24/7 title a highlight as much as I understand where you're coming from. So I've literally only got the one, and that was I'm enjoying Bobby Lashley at the minute. So yeah, I've got to agree with you. Yeah, I can't really give it any higher than 0.5 because what else was in this show for me? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about NXT, Carl?
Let's talk about NXT.
Let's do it. So, as far as the card goes, we saw a match between Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis, with Lumis taking the win. We saw Tyler Rust going up against Leon Ruff, but we kind of didn't, and that ended in a no contest. We'll explain that shortly. We saw Zoe Stark going up against Io Shirai, with Io Shirai taking the win. We saw Xia Li going up against Kacy Catanzaro, with Xia Li taking the win. We saw Drake Maverick and Killian Dane going up against the Grizzled Young Vets, with the Grizzled Young Vets taking the win. We saw Santos Escobar going up against Karrion Kross in a Who Cares match, with Karrion Kross taking the win. And then we closed the night with a nice little promo from Adam Cole, who wanted to explain his actions and obviously not do something heelish again. Honest wink. And that was how we closed the night out. Mm-hmm. So, highlights, Carl. First one I want to mention, Lumis Gargano.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to eat some humble pie here because I was pissed off when Lumis was involved in this and when he was going after Austin Theory. And for some reason, last week, I was so blinkered that he's going into a feud with Austin Theory. I never considered that this is where they were headed. And I see the match this week. I see the potential for more. I see the potential for like a bigger match and maybe even a title match for Lumis. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for this. I can't believe I didn't sort of consider this last week. I feel kind of stupid for not doing, but like this is exactly what I want. This is a good feud for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah!
I want to see Lumis as champ. I've said this for a while,
right.
And if he gets a feud that isn't built on fucking silly, stupid shit like it normally is, and he goes after a belt and just batters Gargano, then I'd be made up. So yeah, I thought this was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So my next highlight, Carl, is actually Adam Cole. Now, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't digging the promo. For those who haven't seen it, he sort of cut a bit of promo at the end where he's like, no, it was, I was overreacting. I'm sorry. I still love you guys. And, just to keep it as brief as I can, he wasn't sorry. He was a dick. He low-blowed Roderick Strong and made it very clear he's still a heel. And as much as I'm like, yeah, everyone saw that coming, the fact that we're getting a solo flying Adam Cole, yeah, I'm digging that. I think that could be a good shout. I've only ever seen him with the Undisputed Era since I started watching NXT, so it'd be nice to see where they go with it. And I kind of quietly hope still that he's main roster bound. I don't know about yourself.
I can't see where he fits in on the main roster. If I'm honest, like there's nothing for him to do on Raw, and if he went to SmackDown,
he could fight Jeff.
Fucking hell, don't. If he went to SmackDown, would I love to see him take on Daniel Bryan? Yeah, sure I would. After that,
you're going to get Rey Mysterio and Dominic. That's what you're going to get.
Don't even start.
2-on-1 for some reason.
But yeah, I don't get what.
I take your point.
What's going to happen? He does fit better in
NXT. He does. But either way, I'm intrigued and I'm liking the heel turn. I think it was time for the Undisputed Era. I think we said for quite a while now that there wasn't really a lot for them to do because there's no real other factions. I had kind of quietly hoped when Escobar rocked up with Legado del Fantasma that might be someone to rival Undisputed Era in terms of a faction, but we never got that. So it was one of them where you go, eh. And then Kings of NXT was another one. We kind of touched on the fact that they could be a rival faction, and then I don't really know what's going on with Pat McAfee. Like, he's kind of there, but not. Like, we get a video every once in a while, but he's kind of not there. And the Kings of NXT are just kind of not there as well. So there's not really a reason for Undisputed Era. There's no rivalry there for them. I mean, they could have still been mates. He didn't have to go full heel, but whatever. It's all good. But yeah, sorry, this was a highlight. Good things. It was a good thing. My last highlight, Carl, was I just want to give a shout out to Zoe Stark. Not a shout out like, hey, if you're listening, I just want to mention it because
when did we start doing cameos?
I have no idea. I'm definitely doing some cameos now for that. But yeah, so Zoe Stark, I just wanted to mention it because I'm intrigued where NXT want to go with it because this was the first time in I think a while where we've seen someone relatively new go up against the women's champ and it not be a total fucking squash. This actually, it made her look fairly good, and I'm like, there's got to be a reason for this. And she really, she did do well in the ring, so I'm not just saying this like from a booking point of view. She's definitely talented as well, but I'm intrigued, and I think they booked it really well. So I just want to shine a bit of spotlight on that particular match, as much as everything. There were shenanigans, but I think the fact that it weren't just a couple of minutes worth of like, right, EO's just battered you. I really enjoyed that, and I'm hoping that she may have like a title shot in her future.
Defo, man. I think big surprises from Zoe Stark. I thought it would have been Arya or Sansa who got the push, but Zoe, fair play.
And she's not messing around because winter's coming.
Well, exactly.
Hey. So, shite, Carl. Not a lot to mention, to be honest. A lot of it was. I feel like I say this every week now, but a lot of it was okay, But two shites I need to mention was, and I sort of joked at it when I was reading the card out, but Escobar going up against Karrion Kross, I do not give a fuck. I don't know where this came from. I don't know why we're booking it. I don't know why Karrion Kross is so far removed from the main title picture. It just annoys the fuck out of me. Like, this was a 3-on-1, right? And essentially, and is the most damaging thing they could have done for Legado del Fantasma. Because Karrion battered them, all of them. All right, he had some difficulty, but he was taking on 3 men. He should have had a lot of difficulty. And I know they're trying to book him strong, but that was fucking damaging for that faction. And he's not even allowed to go for the Cruiserweight title. He's not part of 205, so he can't even take the title off Escobar. So, it's all right. You can batter him all you like. You can win all you like. It's not damaging to a title holder because you'll never be able to take his title anyway.
The big thing...
What the fuck is this?
The big thing that pisses me off about Kross since he's come back is he was the fucking champ and he had to give it up. And he's not come back and tried to get the fucking title back.
Yeah, he's like, I'll buy a bit of time.
Like, I'm gonna...
Finn's got it at the minute, I don't mind.
Yeah, like, what?
I mean,
when does that ever happen? It's stupid as fuck.
Exactly. And that's, I don't know, like, you wonder how he's... It's not. I don't want to say fallen so far, because that's not fair on Escobar, but you wonder how has he ended up here? To come back and go, I want my title back. And, like, to have an injury that lasted about as long as Finn's, but had to give up his title. And that's a story waiting to happen anyway. Why did I have to drop the title and you didn't?
Exactly. Exactly.
That is your match right there.
And what's Finn even doing now that he's had the fucking thing with Pete Dunne? Was he even on the fucking show?
He was involved in the Adam Cole stuff at the end, but I don't think they made it clear what's going to happen next. He was involved in those bits, but like, because he's kind of got a nice little friendship with Kyle O'Reilly now, so maybe some sort of. Do you know what? If I had to book it, I'd probably say it's going to be Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong going up against Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Adam Cole. If I'm honest with you,
sounds like fantastic booking.
Yay! So just needed to mention Karrion Kross. Like, just doesn't make any sense why he's all the way over here, and nothing to do with the title picture when he is the most realistic. That's the problem. He's the most realistic champ on the roster. So when he goes up against Finn, you expect him to win, and that's why they don't want to book it. Calling it now. Anyway, my only other O'Shea, Carl, is they're putting a lot of effort into Leon Ruff going up against Isaiah Scott. To the point you might have noticed I mentioned in the card, Carl, that Tyler Rust going up against Leon Ruff ended in a no contest. That is because Isaiah Scott attacked Leon. Because they're pushing towards this feud. Don't care.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how much I don't care. You ruined what might have been an alright match to book this match that I don't care about. So, that's my other shite. kind of a personal one, that, because some people might care. I don't. All in all, as far as a rating goes, I'd probably give it a 2, because I don't want to be too unfair to it. It was a so week. There were some good matches in there. It just, there wasn't a lot to write home about. So I'm going to give it a 2, because it wasn't the worst. It just wasn't much of anything.
Okay, I'm going to slightly underpeg you a little bit with a 1.5, just because I just didn't care about the majority of it, to be fair. Like, I love Karrion Kross, but he's embroiled in a fucking pointless feud, so don't care about
Still
that.
Better than his brother, Chris.
Hey. Take a wheel. And then obviously we had Gargano and Loomis, which was fantastic. And then everything else was just a bit meh. So yeah, gets a 1.5 for me.
Yeah, I get how you got there. I can respect that.
Yeah, with my thoughts. And on to the Superior Wednesday show.
Light it up, Carl.
Dynamite. So the card this week, we had Jon Moxley taking on Ryan Nemeth in what was essentially a squash match, with Moxley picking up the win. I
think that's going to be Ryan's gimmick going forward.
Yep. We had Team Taz taking on the Varsity Blondes, with Team Taz picking up the win, and it was a fantastic showing from the Varsity Blondes.
Yes, it was.
We had...
We called it. I'm going to say that we called it. Griff, future star. We've been calling it.
That's it. That's why we asked him to be on the show. We had Brandon Cutler taking on Jake Hager, with Hager picking up the win in a match that no one asked for, nobody wanted. We had Hangman Page taking on Isaiah Cassidy, and Hangman picked up the win. We had the qualifier match between Britt Baker and Nyla Rose, with Nyla Rose picking up the win and advancing to the US Finals. And the main event of the evening was a Face of the Revolution ladder match qualifier between Lance Archer and Rey Fenix, in what was a banger of a match, with Lance Archer picking up the win.
Yeah. See, I'm liking that we're getting to a point with Dynamite now where we can look at it and go, that's going to be a fucking good match. Yeah. There was a time I wouldn't have known, but we can, with quite confidence, before even watching the match, look at Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix and go, that's going to be good.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too. And I've got some highlights for you, Anthony, but I've also got a couple of O-shites too, so let's run through.
Cool. Let's do it.
So, the Moxley match wasn't really long enough to talk about, to be fair, because it was a squash. However, the post-match promo was excellent, as usual, from Mox. You know, there's a reason why we gave him the Roddy Piper Award in the A2theK Knees for Best Talker, because he's just been fantastic. And his promos have just continued to, you know, be night and day versus what he was when he was Dean Ambrose in WWE. So, you know, for a match as gimmicky as a fucking exploding barbed wire death match, he sold it, and he made you really want to see it, to be fair. And he speaks with such passion about, you know, the business and about how he wants the title back and stuff. And he's a breath of fresh air. He's not, you know, I can't make an honest comparison with the likes of Austin, because he's nowhere near that level. But in today's world of wrestling, I get Austin type vibes almost, with kind of his character and the way he is. So just another fantastic promo from Mox. Yeah, I get that. Another highlight, our boy Griff, loving the Varsity Blondes, man, doing absolutely stellar stuff. Match itself was really, really good. And then, yeah, the post-match stuff I still think was good, to be fair, but I'm keen to get your thoughts on it. So, obviously, the Team Taz won the match, and post-match, Sting showed up after a weird little kooky video where he took Darby Allin around in a body bag, you know, attached to a car. But Sting shows up with a body bag, and it turns out that Taz's son, Hook, is in the body bag. Darby comes down from the rafters on a zip line, and they basically beat the shit out of Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Sting even hits a Stinger Splash and the Scorpion Death Drop. So, yeah, I thought it was decent, to be fair. After many weeks of Sting comes out and talks, there was no talk, it was action.
Well, let's interview Sting. Sting addresses this. Sting says stuff.
Yeah, it's almost as formulaic as fucking Roman Reigns coming out to start a Smackdown show. But this week, it was slightly different. You know, there was no talk; it was all action, and you know, it did what it needed to do. It you know, we saw Brian Cage and Starks have an excellent match. Ricky have an excellent match with Varsity Blondes, and then we got to see their feud progressing for Revolution. So all in all, did what it needed to do, and it was really good. I also thought Britt Baker versus Nyla was really, really good as well. Surprised with the outcome. I actually thought Britt was going to advance, to be fair. So
yeah,
interested to see.
I was expecting that from old Brittany, to be honest. Yeah,
because obviously we've got you know, spoilers for what's going to come up in a little bit. But if Britt would have gone through, then we would have got Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa 2 in the US finals. And that's where I thought it was headed. However, that is not going to be the case because Nyla picked up the win.
Have we seen Britt Nyla? Not Britt Nyla. We've just seen that. Have we seen Thunder Nyla?
I don't think we have. So it's definitely something which I'm intrigued by. Definitely. So I honestly don't know who's going to win. To be fair, I'd like to think Thunder, but you know.
But we always like to think Thunder because she's fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is true.
Not that the others aren't, but
well,
we have an affinity for Thunder Rosa.
We should know by tomorrow because I think it's going live on YouTube tonight. So I think we should know.
Catch it live on Bleacher Report. No, it's not happening.
Yep, head over straight to YouTube. Let's not even mention Bleacher Report. And the final highlight is just the excellent main event that we got with Phoenix and Archer. So it's just night and day for Archer at the minute.
Here's the real Archer for me.
Like the Murderhawk monster when he was a bad guy was hokey as fuck.
Stupid.
He was so silly.
Hokey. Hokey's the right word, thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was.
It's like proper Carney days of like a villain, do you know what I mean? It's so bad. And, you know, not that he's a fantastic face by any point, but now that they've done this little weird like turn with him, he's not as ridiculous as he was, and you can take him seriously. You can appreciate the talent he's got in the ring, and he's very talented. And this was a fantastic match with Rey Fenix, who was also just incredible. So these two, you know, different styles, completely different builds, but made for still a really, really good match. And I love the fact after the match, you know, Phoenix is pretty much dead on the floor, and Archer just picks him up by the head, fist bumps him, and drops him back down again. Like, fucking brilliant. So, them's be my highlights.
But that's not all.
That's not all. So, a couple of shites this week. And, strangely, it's all the elite, if I'm being honest. So, right. Who told the Young Bucks they could act? Because they fucking can't, right? So, after the completely fucking pointless segment that we got between Jake Hager and Brandon Cutler. So they have a match. Hager obviously wins because fucking Brandon Cutler's not going to win, is he?
It's Hager.
Right? We get basically the Young Bucks' parents are in attendance for that particular show. Okay.
Sure.
Like, they reveal that really early on in the night, and we're like, yes, definitely nothing bad's going to happen to them. And lo and behold, after the match, MJF and Jericho are shown on the screen, and they've beat the living shit out of the Young Bucks' dad. So they obviously peg it to the back, all concerned, but they just can't act. So you just don't believe any of it, to be honest. And
Jericho's dad's coming into this, isn't he?
I don't know. He was a hockey player, so you might beat him up with a hockey stick, maybe.
We've seen him in wrestling before. I can just imagine they want to get revenge by beating up Jericho's dad.
Maybe.
I'd love that if they try and beat up Jericho's dad and he beats the shit out of them both with a hockey stick.
That would be pretty sick, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. It just it is a shame to think what the Inner Circle and Jericho were, you know, this time last year versus the stuff they're doing at the minute. It's just not as good, unfortunately. And I don't know, like the whole MJF Jericho thing of MJF destroying it from the inside and stuff. I get that they're trying to build, you know, this tag match for the tag titles, but there's just not enough of that happening. So it's not even interesting. You know, when Jericho and MJF work together as a team, then who cares? Because there's plenty of other tag teams out there and they're better. But what you want to see is like them capitulating from the inside. But when they're just joining forces to beat up the Young Bucks' fucking dad, who cares when they don't even seem to act like they do.
join forces for that.
Well, exactly. So yeah, wasn't a fan, and I wasn't a fan of Kenny Omega this week.
Did you?
Oh, sorry.
Go on. I was going to say, did you know, and I could be wrong on this, but I feel like I read it somewhere, that the Young Bucks' dad did the music for Being the Elite. You know that? Be Elite.
No, did not know that at all.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I believe so.
Well, yeah, let's hope he doesn't do that live every week, because he's going to be fucked for the next show. But yeah, Kenny Omega, it's not good, man. It's not good at all. When he did this big fucking heel turn with Don Callis and screwed over Moxley, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And he came out and he was cutting some really proper, like, Triple H style, heely, arrogant promos, and I was like, this dude.
And you know what? I was made up as well, because I didn't get the cleaner. It was stupid.
Exactly, right? But then you've got, okay, I'm going to play golf, or I'm going to go and read these books to these kids in a school. This week he's a blacksmith, Anthony. Apparently he was constructing a Moxley extermination chamber, and you're just like, fuck off. Like, really? This is what you're doing with your world champion? Like, it's so stupid, man. It's so stupid.
I mean, who's gonna tell him? He's not just a champ, he's like the COO or whatever.
Well,
who's gonna tell him?
Yeah. I feel like this is part of the problem with AEW at the minute is, every fucker who's got a title or who's high up on the card is fucking, part owner of the company in some way. So you kind of like...
So if they're off base, no fucker's going to be able to tell them that.
And it's like, I love that they allow people the creative freedom to, do their own stories and stuff. But you've got to, surely, I think Tony Khan needs to just step up, not be a tyrant like Vince and just be like, nah. But
he has to be able to at least go, no, Kenny.
Yeah.
You cannot be a blacksmith.
Exactly. Like... Who's pitching this, this idea? Like, it's Kenny's like, oh, so I was thinking this week for my character, I'm going to go and read a story to some kids. Okay, what does that do? I don't know, just fancied reading this kid's book.
It's like, okay. I feel like next week we're going to have, he just walks past Tony with a surfboard and he's like, don't worry, it's a promo.
I'm not a fan at all, Kenny Omega. You're a fantastic wrestler. This is beneath you, I'm afraid. You're the world champion, and it's silly.
I hate it when the negative people are right, and sadly, the people who've always hated on AEW, they were always talking about the inmates running the asylum and how it was a bad thing, and I fucking hate it when they start being right, but they're fucking right.
They are right.
There's echoes of it, and I can feel it, and I don't like it.
Well, that's it. AEW was fucking sublime, wasn't it? The first year, pretty much, of AEW was so good, and even, when they started losing the fans because of COVID and they couldn't come to the shows and stuff anymore, they still did pretty well. But like the last few months, you can't argue that it's just not being the same level. I gave it a 5 a couple of times. Do you know what I mean? 4s, like 4.5s, and you're lucky.
Yeah, it's not touched that in a while now.
3s, and it's still probably the better show of the week every week. But
oh yeah, I still enjoy it more than NXT.
Maybe we just hold it on higher standards, maybe. But
I don't know. I think the trouble is it's not so much about the quality of the show in some sense. It's about the fact that like you can feel what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I do this with, as you know, I do this with TV shows that I like all the time, when you can think it's maybe like getting a bit past itself, and you're like, this show's starting to go downhill. And I always say that it's not. I'm not saying that at the point that it's gone. I say it at the point I can feel it starting to go, and this is what worries me, because I feel like they've all, like, I don't know, it's like they've all been locked in a room together for that long now that they're all starting to go a little bit fucking nuts. So
you're not saying it's jumping the shark, are you?
I don't want to say that,
no. But yeah.
Can we coin a new term because of how annoyed I am with How I Met Your Mother, still to this day? Instead of like jumping the shark, they're killing the mother. Because that was a fucking stupid finish to that. Not to digress, guys, right? Whoever, like, for the random intersection of people who love wrestling and watched How I Met Your Mother, this is for you. How stupid was that ending?
Yeah. Should it have been Robin?
Now that was a tangent, sorry.
Should it have been Robin?
No. Why do we spend like 3 seasons putting Barney and Robin together just to do that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I really turned this into something else. Carry on.
Anyway, and my final shite is just kind of in terms of the show itself. So I'm critical of NXT because what they do doesn't really seem to progress the storylines that much. But in this instance, it's the opposite. So stuff happened that progressed all the storylines, which was great. But the predictability of the show, like if you look at that match card, The only match on that whole entire card that I couldn't have predicted who was going to win was Britt Baker and Nyla, because I thought Britt was going to win. Everything else was so fucking obvious. The writing was on the wall all the way through it, and you still need an element of, I think you said it at the start of this bit. Then of you can start to look at a card now and be like, ooh, that's going to be a good one. But you can also look at this card and go, ooh, that's going to be a fucking squash, or ooh, he's definitely winning that one.
Yeah.
And I felt like all up and down the card, it was.
No, that's fair. Like at no point were you looking at the match going, well, Mox might not win this.
Well, exactly.
He fucking will.
So yeah, it's I don't know. All in all, it was still a really good show. But I've come to expect a bit more from Dynamite. Maybe selfishly from how good it has been, and yeah, it was just too predictable this week. And there was a couple of bits in there, mainly with the Elite, that were kind of annoying to me. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 3 as well. Fuck it. I was tempted by 2.5. If I'm honest, that's why I paused.
Okay.
But you know what? Yeah, it deserved a 3.
Okay, I'll take that.
It deserved a 3. It was still a good week.
And before we jump to Smackdown, I will touch briefly on the Bleacher Report special that I watched on YouTube because Bleacher Report sucks. So the card we had to enjoy once we could finally tune into the fucker was a 3v3 tag match, or 6-person tag. We had Hikaru Shida, Mei Sagara, and Rin Kadokura taking on Emi Sakura, Benny, and Maki Ito, with Hikaru Shida's team picking up the win in that one, in what was a pretty good contest, to be fair. And everyone's kind of, I'll talk about this a bit more, but Maki Ito, everyone seems to be quite big on her, and I can see why, to be fair. She impressed.
Not a name I was familiar with before this, to be honest. But.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely different. And then we had the Japan finals with Yuka Sakazaki taking on Ryo Mizunami, with Ryo Mizunami picking up the win in that one. So she will face whoever progresses on tonight's show between Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose in the final. And spoilers, the US semi-finals we got to see with Thunder Rosa picking up the win over Riho and advancing. So all in all, I thought it was pretty decent, to be fair, for a free card. It was all women.
Let's face it, we were tuning in just for Rosa versus Rio.
Well, exactly.
Let's be honest.
So the fact that we got an undercard of any kind, I thought was good. And there was a. So I want to kind of call out this Maki Ito, because again, I didn't know that much about it. I've seen a couple of things on kind of social and stuff. Like, she seems like a proper mad person, constantly just telling people to go and fuck themselves and stuff. Fair play. Nice. But yeah, I don't really know what a gimmick is, other than the fact she's batshit crazy, and I think it's fantastic. But there's a point in the middle of the match where she just started singing, while one of her teammates was just absolutely fucking stretching the fuck out of someone all around her in a circle, and then she stopped singing, went over and just fucking headbutted her, and it was fantastic. But Shida was really good as well. So yeah, all in all, I thought that was really good. The Japan finals was okay. I don't think it was phenomenal, to be fair. But we had Ryo Mizunami picking up the win, and she's going to kind of progress to the final. So. It was a very
interesting to see who she goes up against.
Well, yeah, it was a really physical match. I think, this is why I'm kind of on the fence, because I want Thunder to win the whole fucking thing. But if we're looking at stylistic matchups, I think maybe, Mizunami and Nyla Rose might put on a potentially better kind of hoss fight kind of match. But we'll see.
Could be what they're aiming for. Like you say, as much as we always want Thunder to win everything, this could be what they're going for.
Yeah. But yeah, so all in all, I thought it was pretty decent, and we are going to get to see Thunder Rosa take on Nyla Rose in a match that I don't think we've ever seen before, so that's going to be something different there, and we are going to be looking forward to a fantastic finals bout and see who Hikaru Shida will face. I'm not sure if it's at Revolution, I think it might be, for the title. So that was Dynamite and the Bleacher Report YouTube special this week.
Nice. Right, so let's talk about Smackdown, shall we?
Layeth the smacketh down, Anthony.
Well, Carl, in a shock turn of events, we opened the show with Roman Reigns.
What?
Don't know, right? So he cuts a promo, as he likes to do, beginning of every week. We then had Ray and Dominic going against Alpha Academy, Chad and Otis.
Yep.
With Chad and Otis taking the win. We then had a match between Shinsuke and Apollo, with Apollo taking the win. We saw Liv Morgan going up against Tamina Snuka, with Tamina taking the win. We saw Bianca Belair sort of, I want to call it a promo. She basically decided who she was fighting at Mania, even though it was fucking obvious. But yeah, we had that. Then we had the Street Profits going up against the newly formed tag team of Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin for some reason, with the Street Profits taking the win, believe it or not, Cal. Then we get, let's say a promo, a short segment, if you will, between Seth and Cesaro, which we'll talk about. But yeah, good things, Cal. And we actually closed the night off with Daniel Bryan going up against Jey Uso, which ended in a no contest because they both got counted out because fuck it, why not? Right? That's the card. Mm-hmm. I have two highlights. First one is Alpha Academy. Didn't think I'd say it, but fuck it. I prefer them to Heavy Machinery. I actually think they're going to be a really good tag team. I really like what's going on at the minute, even if they only ever seem to fight Ray and Dominic. But as far as a heel tag team goes, as far as the aesthetic, as far as the teamwork, and as far as the gimmick, I'm loving it. I actually think they could be something really good in the tag division. In the tag division, do not give Otis a solo run again when you do it. But I've got to call it. Like, I was umming and ahhing over it, but no, this is a good thing. This is a good tag team. I feel a little bit sorry for Tucky, but what are you going to do?
I do think as well, I don't know, like, Otis was quite a funny character, so it's interesting to see the big shift into him being this heel. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to miss it necessarily, but it's definitely interesting to see that, he's gone full heel.
The big shift sounds like a finisher of his.
I just did a big shift before.
But no, I take your point. It's like we've not really seen him go serious heel, so it'd be interesting how he works. But I think, surprisingly, and I was not calling this at any point, but Chad Gable compliments him. They actually work well together. Little and large as it were, it works. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where we go. I can honestly quite happily see them with the tag titles in the future. Works for me, no problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
Tag champs, 6-time tag champs, why not? But the next one, Gal, is a similar highlight, really, in a way. They're definitely pushing forward with Seth Rollins going up against Cesaro. We had Seth come out to sort of talk to Cesaro, as it were, and almost try and get him on board. And even that was actually quite stellar work, if you think about it, because Cesaro is someone who's a bit disenchanted with WWE. In reality, he's not had the pushes he should have. What's Seth doing? He's trying to win him over and go, if you go with me, I can give you the opportunities you've seen me have. I can make that for you. And you go, yeah, that manipulation is fantastic, actually, because that makes sense as to why you would win him over. But he didn't. Cesaro made it very clear, embarrassed him with his finisher, and we're getting Cesaro going up against Seth. It's going to be really good. So I have to give it a highlight because I'm actually really looking forward to that. I think it's good for Cesaro, like really good for Cesaro going up against someone at the caliber of Seth, who's been at the level Seth has, in all fairness.
Yeah, definitely. It's night and day for him, isn't it? From being in fucking, the bar and the Shinsuke tag partnership and stuff, for him to be going up against a former, multi-time world champ. It shows that they are giving him some level of push anyway, and it's one that we've been saying for so long is deserved. And the way they're booking him as well, he's been on the mic a bit, and he's handled himself well, and he's
definitely improved.
Yeah, like he's not going to set the world alight, is he? And I still think he would be better with the like an advocate like fucking Heyman or something. But at the same time, he has come a long way, and he looks as legit as ever in terms of getting an opportunity to go for something. So
yeah.
I also just want to mention Seth screaming when he was putting him in the big swing. It was tickled me that.
Yeah. Ah! You gotta love Seth though. He's like he'll fucking give it his all when it comes to selling something.
Absolutely.
Like even just in that character sense of, like you say, like the screaming, just It's such a Seth thing to do, but it's fuck boss.
It's hilarious.
Indeed. So we'll move on to the old shites, Carl, because that was it for me highlights, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one, I'm almost slightly loath to call it an old shites because I'll say now, like as far as the booking and the matches go, I'm still very much a fan of Roman. You know, we've got this whole thing with Brian, we've got this whole thing going forward, and all right, we got this whole Jay thing slightly as well, which that kind of needs to fuck off. But this is the problem. There are slight gripes. On the whole, it's pretty good, right? Edge is kind of in the picture for Mania, we think, right? And the booking in itself this week was pretty good because Edge is kind of like, why does Brian get to go up against him at Fastlane, like when I want him at Mania kind of thing? And you go, yeah, it kind of makes sense. It's always been kind of stupid, that really. But Brian obviously wants, I don't know, like I'm all for the matches. I would quite happily watch Brian Roman in a proper setting. Not in the way we've seen it so far, like a proper nice long match between the two, and I'm definitely there for Roman Edge at Mania. But why do we countlessly every week we open with a promo and we close with a promo or shenanigans? And this is exactly what happened this week. We open with a promo, everyone lays their claim, Brian comes out, Jay challenges him, we end up with a main event of Jay versus Brian because apparently there was no main event booked, so we can just do it off the cuff, which again pisses me off. And then it ends in shenanigans, double count out, everyone gets involved, bar Edge, who was like, fuck that. And it's like every fucking week. Like, you can predict what's happening, and I don't like the predictability of it.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I'm looking forward to the matches, I'm like, do we really need to do this every week? Every week, the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I needed them all up.
Rightfully so, again, I think.
The matches are still, yeah, I'm all for them.
Mm-hmm.
Second though, Shaiko, Reginald, can fuck off. He had nothing. We all want, right? We all know Sasha Banks is awesome at the minute. She's on fire at the minute, right? And we all know that Bianca Belair is like a future fucking superstar. And we all know that we really want to see that match. All they have to do this week was have Bianca Belair say, that's who I'm challenging at Mania. They each cut a promo on each other. Sound. Why is Reginald there? Reginald's not even meant to be anything to do with that. He's got this infatuation with Sasha, which is fucking stupid. He's trying to speak for her, which is fucking stupid. And it's like, what are you even here for? Why are you here? Why are we booking it like this? And I'm actually genuinely worried we're going to ruin what could be a fucking awesome match with his involvement.
Mm-hmm. Overbooked to fuck. It just doesn't need to be involved. We can get Sasha versus Bianca. It will be a fantastic match regardless. So I just don't know what they're thinking, what they're playing.
Basically, we want Sasha and Bianca without the fucking wanker.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yes, we do.
So yeah, I just needed to moan about that because I don't like him now. It's like, just fuck off. Just go and do your own thing with your champagne or whatever you do. Anyway, slightly shite. I just need to, I think we both need to take a moment to just feel sorry for the Riot Squad who are being booked into fucking oblivion. Like, Liv Morgan gets squashed by Tamina. Why? Just because Tamina and Natalya are a tag team now. So let's book them strong for like a week or two until we lose interest. But let's do it at the expense of the Riot Squad or members of.
Slightly off topic potentially, but what did you make of Natalya getting a new ring attire? No black and pink for Natalya?
I mean, it's unusual.
I thought it was very weird. Like, she's only ever wore black and pink, hasn't she? For the Hearts, and now she's wearing red.
She did that goldy colour the other day, the other week, didn't she?
Shut up, Anthony. I can't make a point if you're shitting all over it.
Sorry, go on. You carry on.
Blindly agree with me, will you?
I think it still involved black and pink. I just think she had some gold highlight for who was she tagged with that week? Maybe Lana or whatever. She matched one of her tag partners and then never tagged with them again.
Right.
It was kind of weird. But again, like, what is this? I feel really sorry for the Riot Squad. They're like the best established women's tag team there in terms of, longevity, chemistry, gimmick, the whole thing, and they get nothing. They get nothing. We ruin the Iconics, and we're just gonna have these guys on the losing end of fucking everything. Such a shame.
Yeah, sounds about right. I'm devastated, to be fair. I love Liv Morgan. I think she's fantastic. I was so disappointed that they ruined that singles push that she should have had. I mean, let's be honest, it didn't get off to a good start anyway. But then
they ruined it out the gate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Put her in the love triangle with Lana for some reason.
For me, and I know that Alexa's doing awesome at the minute as part of the Fiend, but Alexa versus Liv Morgan is kind of my Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair of hopefully next year's WrestleMania.
It's funny, really, because a lot of people really wanted Liv to be what Alexa is now.
Mm.
And it shows you WWE had designs on something like that, and Alexa took. And don't be wrong, no offense to Liv, but Alexa's more proven. We knew Alexa was going to do a good job of this. I can't say the same for Liv. I hope she would, and I think she's got a lot of talent, but we don't know she'd have hit it out of the park the same way Alexa did. But yeah, it's interesting that they've sort of gone for something like that, but it was never given to Liv.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, Liv was kind of playing, the fucking Harlequin character, wasn't she, to be fair? So that's probably what they thought, because effectively that's what Alexa is at the minute. She's the Harley Quinn to the Fiend's Joker, isn't she? So that's probably where the connotations came from. But Alexa and her stellar ability to play characters and facial expressions and character work is, it's been a good choice. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to exit her out of this thing with the feud, which I imagine will come at some point, probably whenever she gets married or something and she'll have a bit of time off. But I think we'll see the old Alexa back as a face, and yeah, I'd be down to see a heel Liv, maybe.
Heel Liv. It's interesting as well, because isn't Liv part of that family now as well, the Wyatt family?
Shit, yeah.
By all accounts. Crazy, isn't it?
That is very crazy.
Yeah, so that was one. And my last one, Carl, is, again, not the biggest problem in the world, it's just random, is why have we put Corbin and Zayn together? Hopefully this isn't a long-standing thing. They were already not getting along, but, what's this? What happened to the Knights of the Lone Wolf or whatever? I know one of them got released, but he has a tag partner, that lonely guy.
Oh. Yeah. If you're expecting me to rationalise why WWE put random people together in tag teams, then you got no chance, because I have no idea.
Okay then, well that's us for the week. I joke, of course. All in all, Carl, I'm going to have to give this a 1.5. Now, you're probably stop stealing me rating, because you can see mine was originally a 2. But I did that because I can't in good conscience give a 2 to, what did I give it to, Raw? Or no, it wasn't Raw, I think it was NXT. I can't in good conscience give this the same or better or anything like that. I have to give it lower because it was just weak. So yeah, 1.5. And sorry, I've spoiled your rating, but I'm just explaining that I went stealing it. I just agree with it.
You damn dirty thief. So yeah, unsurprisingly, 1.5. I think.
No.
So I did like the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns stuff, and the match with Jay was okay as well. But
I don't like that. Why do they all have to go through Jay?
I don't know. But obviously the Seth and Cesaro stuff was the other thing that stood out. But other than that, it was a very bleh. I mean, we didn't even mention Apollo's new Nigerian fucking prince character, or the fuck he is.
Because I literally don't give a fuck.
Fair.
It wasn't a highlight or no shite or even worth mentioning, because it's Apollo's a heel. Cool. Apollo's slightly changing his gimmick to embrace more of his Nigerian sort of heritage or whatever. Cool, that's fine. But is it relevant, or is it cause me any issues in the show? No, not really.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a shit feud between him and Big E, let's be honest.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
So I think, are we done? Is that everything?
Yeah, that's us, man. We've done the ratings. We've talked about the 4 shows. We've been disrespectful to Apollo. I think we've covered everything.
All the bases we wanted to cover. But that's it for another week.
Again, I do need to clarify. We loved Apollo on Raw in the US title run.
Oh yeah,
this IC run.
Love when he slapped the shit out of Andrade.
Yeah, you never beat that. That was probably a highlight of 2020.
Yeah, remember Zelina Vega was there as well. It was good times.
Don't worry, she'll be on AEW soon. Sorry, yeah. Just needed to clarify that, because I quite like Apollo. He's very talented in the ring. He's got something. But what they're doing with him now, no.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Unfortunately.
No.
But no, that was it. Another week.
Okay, that was us.
And we had good news this week because of all you wonderful people who subscribe. We've now got our custom URL, so you can get to us on youtube.com/A2theK Wrestling. Huzzah.
A2theK Wrestling.
All right, Mick Foley. I do love how Mick Foley says that. But yeah, it's cool that we can even say that. Madness. But
indeed.
So, another fun-filled week. We hope you enjoyed yourself. We've got even more exciting things down the pipeline. We gave you a little bit of an intro this week to Behind the Mask. We'll hopefully be ready to put out the interview with Stanley Alan Sherman himself, the creator of the Mankind Mask. Hopefully, will be next week's segment 3. But yeah, just fun times had by all. And you know, TikTok still going strong, still growing there. That's 6,500. We even got Q&A power now, guys. Leave us some Q's.
Q&A the fuck
and we'll
out of
leave
it.
You some A's.
Unless your question is, where do you suck? Like, don't.
Well, we'll still leave some A's, asshole. Pretty much the response. But no.
But honestly, guys, do all the normal YouTube things. Click the bells, make the subscribes, do all that crap. It helps us a lot.
Sorry, I mean, click the bells. They're just there now, aren't they? Just like clicking on our little faces. Yeah, but a pair of bells.
Nice.
But yeah, drop us a sub. It'll help us out. You know, meatball marinara, anything like that. Any sub is good. But no, you can find us in all the places, following us all on all the things, and yeah, it's been real, guys. And for another week, goodbye.
See you all next week.
You're watching or listening
to A to the K.
The A to the K.
A2theK.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.